In 1964, Valerie married Daniel Ma, who is the son of the first Chinese Presbyterian minister.
So I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and by that time, I really felt I was a Canadian. I was really happy. I was born in Canada, and I want to give back. And Kim was allergic. There's my son Kim, but he's doing very well. Anyway, he was allergic, so I wanted to go. Thought of the doctor said he should be, have healthy food and all that. So that's how I started with the whole grain bread. But then someone got jealous and reported me, and because I was doing it from my home, and so I had to pay $200 fine or go to jail. And I didn't want either one, because that was hard-earned money. That was my pocket money. And so I took a year, and I insisted that I want to continue. And my husband, he's really the old-fashioned Indian man, where he said, I can provide for you. Why do you have to go to work? Which wasn't it. But anyway, so I had a rough 1 year, but finally he knew I was very stubborn, and so he gave in. And so I quietly went to the bank and tried to get a loan, and I was refused. I went to one, I was refused. I went to the next one, I was refused. So finally I was really down, and so I had to confess to my husband. And he said, how can you do that without a proposal? And I said, well, what is that? I mean, he said, you can't anyway. So he finally broke down and helped me with it. So we went to the bank, and so he did all the talking because he's used to it and I'm not. And so we were refused in one bank, and then we went to the next bank. And so this bank, I guess I'm the one who's going to run the bakery, so he thought he'd ask me all the questions and all. Anyway, so he asked me, what would you do if you have more business than you can handle? And so I was quite pleased. I said, that's an easy question. I said, I'll be running all the way to the bank. And my poor husband, I thought if he had room, he would have been under the table. But the bank manager was laughing so much. I got the loan. That's the main thing. And then when I opened the bakery, I don't know. Well, I suppose it's the quality. They all tell me it's the quality. So the radio, I was on the radio. They talk about my bread on the radio. And then the TV, they start talking about it. And so they would say, they see smoke coming out of Halifax. And they said, that must be Mary burning her cookies. So by that time, when people came, they didn't know me, but, we had a great rapport. And so anyway, so I don't know how you knew, but we were voted the local, there was a local magazine and every week, and so the readers voted us the best bakery in town for 10 years in a row. And then I retired, and after a year, they called me up, and they said they didn't want to let me go, even though I didn't have the bakery. So they said, we're starting a Hall of Fame, and they want me to be the first one. So here. Anyway, that was my fifth baby.
I have one last question for the panel. What would you like the younger generation of Chinese women to walk away with from today's event?
Should I start?
Sure.
What should young people? Okay, the old folks, we sort of paved the way. we are not shit disturbers, but we will not take any injustice. So that's where it was. And I also feel that color should not be, we should not be discriminated, because they discriminate my family because they call that I married a black man. And that was so unfair. Because at the same time, the Canadians were calling that Chinese yellow peril. Remember that? And and like my brother said, it shouldn't matter what color you are. He said he didn't mind if my future husband was polka dot green, and he said as long as he has a good heart. And another thing, I feel that the young people should know that we paved the way, and it was really difficult, so you must be proud of your parents and be proud of yourself and not accept you as second-class citizen. And I feel unhappy. I'm Chinese and Canadian and a woman. And I do want to add, this is not quite what you can take maybe, but maybe. Anyway, when I was growing up, after the community excommunicated us, there were 3 decades that I lost contact with the Chinese. And I came on a business trip. That's when I had the bakery. And I was walking down Dundas Street. And first thing, I was overwhelmed by the number of Chinese here. I'm just not used to it. Everyone I look were Chinese, grown up little, and I could understand what they were saying, because in those days there weren't many Mandarin. And I just was in tears. And so the person I was with, they couldn't understand what happened. And I guess they thought I missed a great big sale, but it wasn't. It was so emotional that I'm Chinese at heart. They couldn't take that away from me.
Wow. For me, a lot of people might not know I'm very shy, and so when I first and when I would go to a party and I'd be the only Chinese, I'd be helping in the kitchen and doing other things, and just so I could fit in, and I still do that. I still, I don't like, I go to events and I'm still sometimes the only Chinese, especially with the retired teachers. There are a lot of other people there. But I think the thing that sits with me most is be very proud of your heritage. It's something I'm very proud of, and I'm hoping others will. But first of all, you have to feel good about yourself. And until you have that feeling, till you can stand on your own, you can't, talk about it. It only does it for me. And so kind of that's how I feel. And the other thing is I kind of have a different philosophy in life. Now that I've reached a certain stage, what I like to do every day is, if I can do one thing a day that brings a smile to somebody or that is unexpected, then it makes me feel good. So I kind of get my back from that. And so I started taking pictures, and everybody said, oh, here's Valerie with her camera. but I take a lot of pictures, and then when I present the pictures to people, I love presenting the pictures to people and see their face light up, and they're very happy with it, and that's kind of my thank you. So that's kind of how I feel, and the plights of others that I'm confronting now, because I have many, many worlds in the city, and one of them now is the workers, the women from the Philippines. And I have a friend who has dementia, and she has a lot of Philippine caregivers, and some of them are going through the kinds of things that different sorts of things that our families have had. They've got husbands elsewhere, and they're trying to raise kids, and they're working very hard. They're professionals. And so, like my problem is I can't say no to a lot of things. So that there's a lot of work out there to be done. And so, yes, we're Chinese, and yes, we're very proud of it. And if we can do things and share, some of the things that we've gone through with some of these other people, I think, we'll continue.
I think what I would like a young Chinese Canadian woman to walk away from today is to recognize that you draw strength from those who came before you. I certainly have benefited so much from what Valerie and Mary had done for me, so that I'm able to do what I can do. I firmly believe that you need to understand where you came from to know where you are today, and to understand the direction that you're going to be going in. And I personally have drawn so much strength from my immediate family, from role models like Mary and Valerie, and from my community. The belief and the strength, the battles that you can fight for your community will sustain you. And I appreciate that it's given me a level of self-confidence to be able to pursue the many things that I'm interested in, and also really the good fortune to pursue a passion. So I think it's really important. I say this to my nieces as well. Be really proud of who you are. Know what those who came before you have done, so that when you're walking down the street and someone tells you that you don't belong, you know very well that you belong. And you know very well what your community has had to do for you to be able to go to school anywhere you want, to open up a business anywhere you want to, and always to pay that homage to the pioneers and the generations before. The Chinese always believe that it's really important in terms of how you conduct yourself, because it impacts or will influence future generations.
That was a very nice answer to my last question, and so I'm now going to turn the floor over to people.